Alright, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I've been playing this game for quite a while now, and as I was playing, I had noticed that this game does have some things that I was struggling on. I had to look up a lot of things, tricks and how to do some certain things to finish missions. And I feel that any new player to skating or skating simulators is going to have a hard time with this, so I'm making this video to try to help you guys out in case you need it. This is going to be a very basic kind of video. If you're advanced, then this might not help you. Maybe some things you might not know. But just in case, if there's anything that I may mention that someone else knows, or that I don't know, or that I make a mistake on, please, let me know in the comments so others may see them or see the mistake I made, or just adding on to what I have to say, just to get people to understand and really enjoy this game, because I know that if you don't really understand, there are some parts you will get stuck on, and I'm saying you will get stuck on, and it will make the game 10 times worse. But trust me, if you get into this game and you really know what you're doing, then it is really fun. Because I came from Skate 3, and it is not like it whatsoever, and I'm sure if you've played it, you will know that for sure. Yeah, so let's get into it. So first thing I want to talk about are, uh, actually, before I mention that, I'm just gonna assume in this video that you know some of the basic stuff about the game, like how to push and how to push faster, how to ollie, how to nollie, how to get off your board, how to run, how to turn, just stuff like that. I'm gonna assume you already know. Everything else having to do with tricks, anything trick related, I'm gonna assume that you don't know. And that's what this video is for, the very basics of this game. In case you want to get into it, or maybe there's some things you need clarification on, I'll most likely will cover it. So, with that being said, some quick things before we get into the meat is, when doing a trick, the longer you hold down, the higher you'll jump. Very simple. If you do a jump quickly, you can see it gets progressively lower. The longer you hold it, higher you jump. And of course, by hold it, I mean holding down on the right stick and then popping. Whenever I do try to talk about any kind of left or right stick orientations, I'm gonna assume it like an analog clock. And what I mean by that is, if I say an ollie is flicking down and then up, instead of saying that, I'm gonna say you're gonna be moving your right stick to the 6 o'clock and then your left stick to the 12 o'clock, just so you can get things a little bit more specific, because I don't have any way of you guys seeing my controller. So because of that, I'm gonna have to be specific in that sense. Another quick tip, when I first started this game, I was using the left stick to turn. And it is good if you can handle it, but for me, personally, I kind of I went into the triggers to turn. And I do highly recommend you guys to use the triggers to turn. And the reason for that is because if you use the stick to turn, then you're gonna see, as of right now, I'm actually trying not to do it, but sometimes there you go, you would get into a nollie pose or a nollie preparation trick kind of pose. I'm doing it more now, but if you can manage to use the stick, then that's all for you. That's just my opinion. There's going to be some things that you may agree on, may not agree on, but it's just my preference, and maybe my preference could be your preference, but it may not be as well. That's one thing I do recommend. Just get used to using the triggers to turn. It could be hard at first if you're new. So maybe a exercise that you guys can do is to just kind of go around and just force yourself to use the triggers to turn. Just kind of go around here or anywhere. Just go around here, just start, going left and right, doing a little fishtailing, try to find some obstacles to go through. Just to get used to it, because when I was first starting, what I'll notice is that I would try to turn, and in any scenario where I would need a quick response, I'd catch my fingers rapidly pressing the trigger instead of my thumb spamming the button to push. a scenario where I'd be under pressure to make a quick and proper decision, but I'd end up just messing it up. So you just go through here, maybe follow a track, follow a road, some spots where there's some obstacles for you to go through. You know, right now I might be doing good or decent, but when I first started this game, oh man, I was horrible using the triggers. I'd hold it down for too long. Maybe I wouldn't do it enough. But it's just all about the control. You know, over time, you know, you will develop the skill. And trust me, it will happen because I'd never thought I'd be using the triggers to turn. But now I'm somewhat decent. You know, I'm not the best player at this game, but I am a lot better than what I used to be. Kind of got stuck there. But yeah, you know, that's just one thing that I do mention. Oh my. And it will lessen your chance of getting into a nollie pose when trying to turn. Because it will happen, and it is annoying when you try to go for a trick, and you try to turn to adjust yourself, maybe to a grind or anything like that, and you end up doing this instead of turning. Another thing I know about this game is that it doesn't really have too much of a tutorial. I know it kind of explains to you some things to do, like, oh, you know, this is how you push. You can spam the button to push a little faster, and you know, this is how you ollie. This is how you nollie, or low pop ollie. I guess I didn't do it right. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. How you turn. But then after a while, it says that you do. All right, now that you know how to push your board, do a big spin 180, 920 billion kajillion. You know, it's just like, well, okay, bro, where did this come from? You know, like, you just taught me how to push my board. It's just something that this game does, but it's okay because it does kind of force you to learn. But hopefully this video would teach you instead of having you to maybe find it or struggle too much. So, you know, when you get into this game, I'm sure you've navigated the menus and you see, oh look, a skate guide. And you see the trick list and you're like, whoa, what is goofy? What is nollie? What is switch? Fakie, normal, switch grind, pressure flip. It looks like a lot. Yeah, it does a lot. That was the first thing I said. I said, whoa, this was not in Skate 3. Don't worry, this may look like a lot now, but I'll get into this as best as I can, and you will, hopefully, by the end of this, you will understand. Something I do want to talk about are the different stances in this game. If you're new to skateboarding or skating sims in general, just skating in general, there's two different stances that you can have. For me, I'm in goofy stance. And what that means is my character is facing the left side of the screen. And there is goofy and there is normal stance or regular stance. Goofy is this one. Normal or regular is this way. That's literally it. This is normal. This is goofy. So depending on what your stance is in the beginning of the game, it tells you which one do you prefer. That's all it means. It's saying, do you find your preference to be standing in this way, so your right foot is forward and your left foot is your back foot, or your left foot is your forward foot and your right foot is your back foot. In case you did make the wrong decision of your stance, you can always edit that out. So you can go back to your apartment. I'm on PlayStation, so you can customize skater. This is my skater, and then you do here, and then you can switch it here, regular or goofy. That's all it is. Once you find your right stance that you prefer, then we can actually start here. In case you didn't want to know where I was at before, if you want to use that as an area to practice your turning or just anything, I was at Federal Plaza. So I know some challengers or some anything will tell you to be in switch stance. And all switch stance means is your opposite stance that your default is, or your preferred stance is. So right now, like I said, I'm in goofy, which means I'm facing left. This is my switch stance. And you can tell you're in switch because when you do a trick in switch stance, excuse me, it will say on the bottom right, switch ollie, or switch, what's it called, heel flip, or switch kick flip, or anything like that. If it doesn't say that, if it just says ollie or heel flip or kick flip, I know I said that backwards, but I was just saying it, that means that's your default stance. If you want to switch easily between your stances, you can do what I did before, which is a revert, which is double tapping your trigger. one of the triggers. So twice and you switch. This is my switch stance, and you can do it again to go back to your normal stance. Or you can do an ollie while rotating, so an ollie 180, and you can go into your switch stance. And to do that, of course, you just do an ollie, and you hold down the right or the left trigger, and you can, of course, rotate your body. But you most likely want to be moving forward, because if you don't, then you'll do what I did, where your character would kind of auto-correct himself to be facing in your normal stance. If you move forward, you'll stay in your switch stance, because you keep that momentum and you won't turn around. If you have your board in your hand, you can double press triangle or Y, depending on, your console. Double press it and you automatically put it down in your switched stance. So one tap, my right foot's forward. Double tap, my left foot's forward. So that's something quick and easy you guys can do in case you want to just go straight into your switch stance. There's something I want to talk about that's called a fakie. And what a fakie is pretty much nollie tricks in your switched stance. So you can see here, this is my default stance. If I do a nollie, it says nollie here. You can do a nollie heel, which is a nollie heel flip. They just don't say the flip. And this is the nollie kick flip. But again, it just says flip, which is very interesting because it says heel without the flip. This says flip without the kick. So it's kick flip. They just don't put the kick in there. So what a fakie is in your switch stance. So let me switch here. It is a nollie flip or a nollie ollie, but they don't call it that. They call it a fakie. If you go to your fakie trick list, there's nothing called a fakie nollie. You can look through it all you want. There's no fakie nollie. And the reason for that, and the reason why it's called a fakie, is because the way that you're oriented, and you do a nollie in your switch stance, you're pretty much just doing a regular ollie. It looks like a nollie, right? Because this is the nollie setup. Move to the front, jump, nollie. But in reality, it's not, because if you kind of orientate yourself... Actually, let me find a slip. Give me a quick second. Okay, I found this skate park. You might not be far in this video if you're new to the game. I'm sorry, you might not be far in the game to unlock this, but I'm at FDR in the Philadelphia network. I don't know if you can come here yet, if you're just starting off, but I'm just here to find this slope here. This looks perfect. So as you can see, this is my regular stance. And if I switch here, okay, let me try not to do that. Okay, my switch stance here, an ollie is called a fakie ollie. And the reason for that is because if I look to the right from this scenario, I'm pretty much back in my regular stance, like this. So I look right, go this way, you can see I'm pretty much back in my goofy stance. So all I'm doing is just looking the other direction. That's pretty much what a fakie is. If you look at the direction of it, see how I do that? It's the same thing as doing an ollie, but you're just looking the other direction, which is why it's called a fakie, because you're kind of just faking it. And as you can see on the trick list, the nollie trick list is actually the same thing as the fakie trick list, but they're actually just in reverse. The only thing that doesn't change is the beginning left stick first input, which is the up. You can see here, nollie flip, nollie heel. Nollie flip is up and right. If I go to fakie trick list, a nollie flip or nollie kick flip is up and left. So you can see that's the only difference between nollie and fakie. Nollie is in your regular stance, fakie is in your switched stance. I know very early in the game is going to teach you about pressure flips. And I had a lot of trouble with this, and I know a lot of people also do, because it's pretty weird how they try to explain it to you. It's like, okay, you move the right stick to the left, and then you press down on the left stick, which is very interesting. It's not beginner friendly, if I can put it that way. It's very misleading, because it says left. You move the right stick to the 9 o'clock area in the orientation, but it's actually not fully left, it's diagonally left, downwards. So if I move it left, nothing happens, right? But if I start from the 9 o'clock area, and I keep it pushed there, and I move it slowly down to the 6 o'clock, you can see my guy goes down, like he's getting ready to pop. And that's where you need to do your down on the left stick to do a pressure flip. So again, it's diagonally down left, so maybe around 5, yeah, 5 o'clock to, is it? No, not, sorry. Well, it could be 5 to 4 and maybe 7 to 8 on the clock. So from 7 to 8 in this goofy stance, you're going to be doing like I just did before, a heel flip. If you do from 5 to 4, you're going to be doing a kick flip in the goofy stance. If you're in the regular stance, it's going to be the opposite. So diagonally left, you're going to be doing a kick flip, and this way, the other way, you're going to be doing a heel flip. And that's also the main difference between your switch stance and your normal stance, is that if the tricks that you're going to do are going to be the opposite when you're actually controlling them, or when you're actually trying to input the controls. So if I give you a goofy trick stance or a goofy trick input, if you're in the other stance, it's going to be the opposite way. But don't worry, I won't really let you guys do it by yourself. I'll teach you how to do it. For the pressure flip, because I know that's going to be the main one that you're going to have to do, it's the same way, but instead of just, keeping it in that diagonal stance, you're going to be rotating your right stick to the 6 o'clock direction as well. It's a little easier if you actually start from the 9 o'clock area. So start from the 9, rotate from 9 to 6, down on the left stick, and then that's a pressure flip. Yeah, so that's how you do a pressure flip in the goofy stance. In the switch stance, or my switch stance, or your maybe regular stance, it'll be very easy. It's just the same thing, but the other side. So instead of starting from 9 o'clock, you'll start from 3 o'clock on your right stick. Go from 3 to 6, and then 6 on your left stick. That's how you do a pressure flip in the normal stance, or your regular stance. So if I say normal stance, I do mean regular. I keep getting them confused. If you do it fast, you might not land it. You might land on your board while it's upside down. Like that. You need to hold down on the right stick in order to get enough height to land the flip. So this game is pretty buggy, it's not perfect. And like I said, it's a skating sim, not a walking sim. But there are some tricks that you can do that will bug out. And as you can see there are some things you can't do that will bug out. That's only because I didn't give my character enough height to jump. It is pretty fun. This isn't like other games where there's constant glitches, but there are some things that this game has that will annoy you, as in if I don't know, for example, below talk to Philly local, grinders slide the rail. I could grinder slide the rail and it won't count it. You might see that sometimes, but trust me, it'll work. You might need to do it over again, or you might need to actually do a different trick than what it says. And I do give you the advice of, if it doesn't work the first or second time when you know you're doing it right, look it up, because there's a 9 out of 10 possibility that it might say do something here, but in reality you might need to do something else. This game is just like that, and it sucks, but I've spent an hour or two on one trick, on one mission in this game before, just because I refused to look it up, just because I thought I was doing it correctly. And I look it up, and it turns out I was doing it wrong. There's a lot of people that have the answers to it, videos as well, and they'll show you what you actually have to do. Yeah, so I hope this video helped you out, just to give you some insight on the language and some of the terms that are used in this game. If you're new to skateboarding, I know you don't know. Something else as well, the game gives you the option to fast travel, and anywhere that you go, you can always just fast travel. So if you have a mission active, like for example, this one says meet Annie G. If you go to the map, it tells you exactly where it's at. Pyramid Ledges, fast travel here, and it's going to be at the closest area to where Annie's at. If I have another mission here, talk to Nora. But all it does when you go here is just pull up the map, just like how I was at before. You can just go into your pause menu and just do it yourself. I don't believe it costs any money. You have a free way of getting anywhere. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, I hope this video really helped you guys. Next video I'll be most likely talking about grinds and how to properly hit them, proper angles, ramps as well. I know ramps are kind of tricky in this game, as well as different terminology, like for example, big flips and body varials. Just stuff like that, what they mean and how to do them, and just some unknown tricks, like for example this modern ghetto bird. That was kind of sloppy, but some things they don't really have in this game, or at least just in the tricks. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching this video. God bless every single one of you guys, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one.